I know, you don't have to tell me. You have been waiting months to sit down and have this conversation with your boss and say, I want that promotion. I deserve that salary increase. But it doesn't really work that way, does it? That's why in today's class, I'm going to walk you through a 5-step technique, powerful, effective, so you can turn your end of year performance review into a game changer for your career, so you can level up your results for next year. And how, Christy? By avoiding the number one mistake many managers do in their end of year performance review. Do you want to take a guess? They do not compile their accomplishments before that end of year review. Compiling your accomplishments in this end of year performance review is critical to showcase your contributions and the ones for your teams as well. It is directly tied to your value as a key player and all the possibilities when it comes to salary increase, promotions, high impact projects that you can lead. But before you move any further, if you haven't watched my previous class, the ultimate goal setting for your career success, I have the link below. You will need it before you actually sit down and compile your accomplishments for this year. So I want you to stop now, go back to that video, watch it, and then you come back. So are you ready to start now? First step, performance journal. Remember, we talk about having a quarter, a month over month goal setting. We talk about problems and challenges, right? You can use that same planner to go over those achievements once you and your team solve those problems. There is many ways to do it, but I'm going to show you a simple one. You can have an Excel and write down real time the achievements so you keep it fresh. For example, my Bogota team improved 15% sales revenue in quarter one compared to quarter two, compared to quarter one on the year-to-year result. We're going to talk about a little bit more on the quantifying piece, but that's an achievement for you and your teams. You need to put it as specifically where and when, and in this way you create context in that conversation. Does that make sense? This applies if you are a manager, if you're a director, if you're a VP. If you don't have that journal since the very beginning and say, well, Christy, I don't have it, what do? I strongly recommend that you sit down for at least 20 to 30 minutes and go month by month. I know it's a lot of time, but it's worthy, believe me, and go through project by project, country by country, any specific thing that was a challenge, a problem that you solved, any initiative that you lead directly. I'm going to tell you one real example. I lead the community day for a global company, put it together, prepare it. It was a great innovative initiative, never done before. I put it there. The day and the how to, brief description, a lot of focus on the impact and the innovation and the day. Okay, this is important. Another example, my team and I, we lead a company-wide attrition initiative. We reduce 20% on this country, 30% on this country, yada. So we're gonna go through the quantifying piece, but those things are very important when you are journalizing those achievements or accomplishments. So it's not only the performance per se for the KPIs as a whole, which is very easy. If you haven't journalized it this past year real time and you're sitting down and doing it now, then it's very important that you can have your reports month over month. If you manage multiple programs, if you manage multiple clients, or if you manage multiple countries, then have all the information real time compared to the previous year, and then you can compare that also month over month. In that way, it's not air, it's very substantial, and you can share that information with your manager or your superior. Does that make sense? I used to include everything that my team or myself lead into success with days, a specific brief description, and what was the impact. Journalize it real time from now on. It's gonna save you time. Digitally, it's very easy to just go back and put your comments real time so the information is fresh. Okay. Number 2, we're gonna categorize those achievements or those accomplishments. And what does that mean? We're gonna go through operations, any collaborative initiative that you have with other departments, for example, training, QA, HR, anything out of the extraordinary. Let's say you and your team lead a leadership development initiative. You put it there as well. So all these things goes into categories. If you're leading multiple programs or multiple geographies, you also categorize them separate, so one thing is not tied to the other. This is very important because most of the people, when they start leading multi-geographies or multi-clients, it can be a little bit messy. This gives you room so you can create and elaborate context separate. One problem in one country not necessarily the same problem in another country, right? So in that way, we keep things factual and not with the emotion or the heat of a conversation. You can easily go back and show that category or that result. Number 3, quantify your results or quantify your accomplishments or your team accomplishments. I'm going to give you some specific examples so you can use it in your own case and a scenario. Let's say it's an increase in productivity. Lead a team of 150 employees, resulting in 20% increase in overall productivity in the last 6 months, or from July to December, for January to June, whatever is that it is. Or you can also use a specific headcount if you don't want to do percentages. I personally do percentages because it's easy to quantify, but you can also say grew a team from 150 to 300 to 500 to 1,000 FTEs or employees. Let's say you and your team lead an initiative of cost saving, implemented a cost saving initiative XYZ, whatever the name of the initiative, and we reduce the X project, X program expenses by 16% compared to the previous year, compared to the previous quarter. Okay, this is very important. Each company has their own talent management strategy. These things are very easy to adapt. You can just add it to your conversation. So going back to the example, we implemented the cost saving measure initiative called XYZ. X month, we reduce X project expenses by 16% while maintaining high quality assurance of 93%. One example of employee development: develop and execute X, the name of the training program or development program, lead to 25% increase in employee engagement and satisfaction, and a 12% reduction on attrition for X project, for X country, for whatever. Let's use a process improvement example. We streamline operational processes, resulting in 30% reduction in project delivery time and 15% increase on on-time, whatever name, project completion. Let's say it's revenue growth, generated an additional 1.5 million compared to previous end of year result by adding XYZ projects. Let's say change management, successfully managed and implemented major organizational change, achieving a transition on XYZ, impacting 40% in attrition reduction for X country. Let's say it's budget management. Manage a department X project from $2 million, resulting into a reduction of 10% of unnecessary expenses, meeting the financial target for this year. Let's use team recognition. Created and implemented a team engagement recognition program called whatever is the name, and contributed 22% increase in employee satisfaction, employee morale, and 50% increase in KPI performance. As you can see, this is some examples of quantifying those achievements. So you are landing in facts, and you can easily use this for every client, depending on how many clients do you have. These are very, very useful when you have those end of year conversations or reviews to the bads, goods, and uglies, as I call it, of operational. There is also some other things behind the scenes. Very important that you take care of all the challenges and how did you and your team successfully close those gaps, when and how, and the percentage, the impact, and the result. Well, I guess that's number 4. Focus on the impact. Is it your client, is the company, or is your team members? It's very important that you have those very clear so you don't mix one thing to the other. We have talked several times how different is the needs and the problems and the challenges for those 3 categories and how they interconnect with each other to be successful. Number 5 is gather your feedback. Gather feedback from your team members, from your client, from cross-functional departments, training, compliance, all these departments that do not report to you directly or you don't report to them directly, but as a team has common goals to achieve. And why is this a very important component that I personally recommend so you can ace that conversation, end of year conversation, because then you can compare. We talk about having your goals already set, right? We talk about the importance of the impact on each department. This is more focused on operations, but at the end of the day, this is managed for any cross-functional department. Sometimes we have matrix organizations, meaning that you have these conversations not only with your direct superior, but also with other bosses in other line of businesses. So you align those to your audience, to the person that you're going to speak to those needs and specific challenges, problems, and also achievements. End of year conversation is a great time to celebrate success. It's also a great opportunity to have a reality check. So you have to be very open to feedback. And this is a pro tip I'm going to give you right now. Remember how I said this is the perfect opportunity to align your goals with your boss goals? It is if you follow through the following steps. You have your goals, you have your self-assessment. In the self-assessment, you need to have what are the things that you're going to stop doing and start doing and continue doing. Not long stories, short, concise, precise. And why is this, Christy? Because you need to be prepared also to understand that your superior, your manager, director, VP, C-suite, whoever is going to have this conversation with you, and also you with your people, you already made an assessment. And let's use a real example. You want to lead a new geography, which is Guatemala, next year. You are having this conversation with your superior, with your boss, and this is the reality check. Your boss can say, I don't think you're ready for this. And you need to leave your ego aside and understand, instead of being defensive, because many people will do this, right? No, what I want you to do is breathe and understand why you're not ready. And I want you to listen carefully and take notes in that conversation. Again, you have to leave your ego behind. Many people have the ego way too high to understand where are they really at. And this is the worst enemy for career success and acceleration. Based on that, you can create a plan, or you can go back to your results and then be ready to say, well, no, this was in Q1, in Q2, Q3, Q4, our results were amazing. Or this person can say, well, you are not ready because you don't control your emotions, you are very volatile. Whatever is the reason, then now you know. This is what I want you to focus. Now you know. That's why it's gold, because if you don't, then you're not going to be able to do anything. You're going to be blind, and there is nothing worse to don't knowing where are you standing. The other scenario, your boss can say, you know what, Guatemala is calling your name. Let's say you are in Panama. Now that is a great opportunity you have to talk about money, to talk about benefits, to talk about timing, because you need to also rearrange and plan. Your boss can say, well, who is going to be your successor? Who is going to be the person? Well, we don't know. Then we need to start a recruiting process. All these things happen during that conversation if you lead it in an active role. Every company, again, has their own strategy, their own outline. Some others, they don't. If you don't have set up in your calendar an end of year conversation with your boss yet, then you do it. You take that step because you are the one responsible to lead your career, and it's also necessary for your growth, your professional growth, and the ones in your team. Also, in this conversation, using the same example for Guatemala, I can say, well, Guatemala is not going to be on the books for next year. It's going to be on the books for the following year. So now you can focus your energy in something else. And instead of daydreaming, now you know that next year is not the year. Then if that happens, then am I the person? That's what you want to know. For that role, for that salary increase, for that promotion, it's a reality check. And it's a great opportunity to celebrate success together, to have that booster, have that complicity for trust. Also share what are the goals that this other person has. Then you align those for that next level. So if you are ready to unlock the secrets to accelerate your career success and level up those results next year, do not wait for that opportunity to knock the door. Join my waiting list for my next leadership development career event and be part of a unique and innovative experience. Remember to like this video if you like it, leave your comments and share it with other leaders in the industry who are determined to close this year with the right feet, strong, and want to go deeper in this topic. Wait for next class. I'm going to give you a list of questions and real examples that you can use end of year conversation with your clients, with your company, and with your teams that can make your life easier. See you next class.